Hey guys, welcome back to my channel, and of course it is the 20th of the month, and that means it's next month's bullet journal spread. Whoop whoop! So for the month of June, I have decided to go with a summery polaroid theme, and I really enjoyed getting to draw this one out. I saw a post online as I was looking up theme ideas, and I saw this bullet journal setup that someone had done of a summery polaroid theme, and of course their bullet journal spreads were a lot different to mine. They didn't actually have a mood tracker or a habit tracker, which confuses me because I really thought that that was the thing that kind of distinguished what a bullet journal is, but of course you can include whatever you like in them. I know that a lot of people include those because they find them really helpful, and that is one of the main reasons why I do my bullet journaling. So it's kind of a recreation, it's kind of my own spin on it with some other things in it that are customised to how I like to set up my bullet journal spreads. But I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do, give it a like, a thumbs up, and subscribe and ring the bell to receive notifications every time I upload a new video. And without further ado, let's get into the time lapse. Okay, so like I said, for the month of June, I decided to create a summery Polaroid theme. And this was really fun to create. I found this really cool version online of one, and it was just kind of a different take on summer rather than the usual bright, vibrant colours you'd think. It's kind of more of the pastel-y palette of colours. So for the front cover page, again, I've included a little calendar on the front so that I can kind of just see a little overview of the month. And obviously it's June, so I wrote June. And then just drew some kind of hanging Polaroids, which I've kind of done throughout this theme, and just got different summery things inside, so things like boats on the sea, or watermelon, or an ice lolly, and things like that. And I don't know how well you can see this on the camera, but I did have a very light grey pen that I kind of used for a shadow for all of the Polaroids, and I use that, I think, on every page of this bullet journal. It doesn't show up quite well on the camera, but it just gives it kind of that 3D depth to it. So on the left hand side, I've just done a quote page, and it says, "There's a future version of me who's proud I was strong enough." And I know I normally try and tie in my quotes with the theme for the month, but to be honest, this was just a quote that I really needed to hear lately, and so I really just wanted to have it, so that when I open my bullet journal every day for the month, I will see this quote and be reminded of it. No matter what you're going through, never give up, because there's always brighter days to come. So the pages afterwards, we move on to my mood tracker. And for this, I decided to draw out some mini Polaroids for each day. So each day, depending on what my mood is, I will colour the photo part of the Polaroid in a different colour. And I was originally going to do it like each day draw a different picture inside, but they were quite small, so I just stuck to different colours. And it might be really hard to tell when I colour these in on camera, because some of the colours look really similar, but in real life you can distinguish them quite well. So I thought that worked quite nicely. And the page next to it is my habit tracker. So for this, again, I just kind of did hanging Polaroids and did a calendar in each space where the photo would be. And so this is a really good place to keep track of things that I want to keep track of. So things like, am I drinking enough water? Am I brushing my teeth? Or just like, it can be anything you want really. It can be like, oh, have I posted to Instagram today? Or, oh, have I read some of my book today? Or things like that. It's just really whatever you would find the most helpful to keep track of. Every now and then I kind of switch them up a bit. depending on what I kind of find useful and not very useful anymore. And also kind of when you start to fill them in a lot more because you're getting better at doing the tasks, then you find you don't need to keep track of those tasks and you might have a different task you want to keep track of. So the next page is my meal tracker, and for this, rather than doing the 5 symbols that I would normally do for each day, I kind of just did a more simple layout, and again I drew some hanging polaroids, and then I just did kind of a bit like how I normally do my gratitude pages, and I just did like a numbered column, and then yeah, I can just tick it, and that's pretty simple really. I really like having all these polaroids throughout every page. It kind of ties all the pages together. And then there's also like these cool star corally things that I drew as well, that the person included on the one I saw. Not really sure what they're meant to be, but they kind of just gave it a bit of variation. And then the page next to it is my YouTube videos ideas page. And again for this, kind of similar to last month, I did different subcategories for it. So we've got a box for music videos that I have ideas for, a box for bullet journals, a box for vlogs, and a box for others. In case there's any other ideas I have, which I'm not really sure what they'd be, but who knows what will come out of my head this month. So yeah, that's really cool. That's kind of just a space to keep in one area all of the thoughts I have, rather than trying to keep them in my head and think, oh, what was that really good idea I had, and then you kind of forget. So to have it all written down in one space and to see it all as an overview is really helpful. So the next page is my June memories page, and I think I introduced this into my bullet journal for the first time last month, I believe, and it's really simple. That's literally all there is to the page, and you can just write on it fun memories that you had this month. So for example, it might be, leading worship at church for the first time, which I definitely will put in my May bullet journal's memories. Or it might be getting an ice cream with my friend, or something like that. And then on the page next to it, I've done a summer bucket list. So I've done this before in a couple of my bullet journal spreads last year, I believe, possibly the previous years before that. But it's basically just a place for you to write down things you want to do in the summer. And I know that's a bit difficult because of the whole COVID pandemic and everything, but things are starting to ease up now, and I'm really just looking forward to things getting back to a bit of normality. So this next page is my gratitude page and my prayer request page. And I like to combine them into one page because I find that I don't end up using a whole page just for one of the spreads, and it's kind of a waste of space. So for this, I've done my gratitude at the top, and that's kind of self-explanatory. You just write down something each day you're thankful for. And so even in the days where you kind of weren't feeling so great, it kind of forces you to think, oh, not everything was so bad, because that was something that went well, or that was something I enjoyed. So that's a really good interactive one to have. And underneath is my prayer request page, which is just a space for me to write down things I would like to ask people to pray for, or things that other people have asked me to pray for, so that I can remember them. Again, bullet journals are so helpful for when you find that you're just trying to keep everything in your head and you forget everything all the time. Write it down, it saves you so much. So the page next to it, I've done my Bible verse of the month, and for this I wrote out the verse from Psalm 93 verse 4, and it says, "Mightier than the waves of the sea is his love for you." And I really love that quote because I thought the sea and summer, which kind of fitted together, but it's just amazing to think that, like, even if you think that kind of no one really cares about you, or you're feeling really unloved, then you just have to think, well, that's not true, because the most amazing person on the earth loves you, and that's really the most important love that there is. So yeah, it's great to be reminded of that. And this last page, is my weekly spreads. So for this, I've just done a simple layout, and I divided each page into 4 boxes, and I just kind of drew rough lines. I didn't keep them particularly neat, and I kind of like that design. And so again, each date I've kind of hung down like these signs, just drawn some little decorations around them. And I've realised from last month's bullet journal spread, which I'm still filling out now, that I actually do find it quite handy to have a notes section on my weekly spreads, because sometimes there aren't things that are specific to a day that I will have to do, or something I might need to think of, like, oh, write this down, but it's not for another month, but you haven't drawn out next month's bullet journal spreads. Do you know what I mean? So it's kind of, I find it really helpful in that sort of sense. Yes. So this is my bullet journal flip through for the month of June. Unfortunately, some of the footage I got when I was doing the beginning of my flip through disappeared somehow. So it was kind of me dodgily filming it. And then, there we go. We go back to the other half, which somehow did record itself, which makes absolutely no sense. But hey-ho. I really hope you enjoyed this bullet journal spread. If you did, make sure to give the video a thumbs up and subscribe and hit the bell and all of that stuff that you should have already done. Unless you're new here, then feel free to do it, because I am posting a lot more regularly these days. And also, leave a comment in the comment section down below of what other bullet journal themes you'd like to see me recreate, because I love to create things that I love, but I also love to create things that you guys want to see. So let me know in the comments. I'll see you on the next video.